Welcome back to Competitive Air Gunning. We're out here at the range today. Weather's pretty decent, probably pushing about 70 degrees by the time we get done shooting. Wind a few mile an hour-ish, give or take. Got down here a little late, otherwise I could actually got down here when it was none, which would have been optimal, but I don't mind testing in some wind. Obviously, a few mile an hour is not a whole lot, so it's really pretty darn good right now. But we do have the Panthera here with us. I'm going to pull this thing out, show you something exciting that I went ahead and machined last week. And what we got here on this gun now is a custom rail that we built, and it is a 1/2-inch chunk of brass that we machined, and it fits over our existing arc rail, and it gives us another arc rail under it, so we can still use our all the accessories, you know, that we use, whether it's tripod, bipod, bag riders, whatever. But you know, all that stuff will still work on this gun. We added another 5 pounds to this gun, and it changes our balance quite a bit from the stock profile. Even with the SaberTac rail on this, that changed a little bit, but we added this 5-pound weight, and it really changed how this thing balances. And what you see at a lot of these competitions, which is, you know, why I wanted to explain this, you see a lot of these guns that are really heavy. You see the base class rifles, and they're completely different from open class. You get these really heavy guns, and what these people want, they want that bag. They want that gun to bed down inside that bag. They want the gun to take a lot of the human error out of it. You know, whether it's heartbeats, whether it's breathing, whether it's a little bit of the shake that the shooter might have. You know, a really heavy gun, you know, helps to get rid of that. And they can take somebody that has a, you know, kind of an issue, you know, as far as being very accurate, you know, because of, you know, a heartbeat or a breathing issue. You know, you can really step them up, you know, into a, you know, make them a lot more competitive, you know, than you know, where they feel like, you know, they're gonna be, you know, if they didn't have a very heavy gun. I know some people with Parkinson's, you know, they got really heavy guns, and man, it makes a big difference. And it's really good to see them out there. But before, what I would use is I would use this bipod I know I talked about before, and this bipod here added an extra 2.5 pounds to this, and it's a stainless steel tube filled with lead. It did pretty good. I mean, it definitely did the purpose that it was made for, but the problem is I had to leave this on my gun, and it's something I really wanted to get away from, and I couldn't find no other options to do it. So I went ahead and ordered a piece of brass and went ahead and machined it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get this gun zeroed back in, and we're going to set up some stages out here. We're going to shoot out here around the pond. Probably have targets anywhere from, I'd say on the average 100 yards, probably gonna be most of them, but we'll bring them in as close as probably 20 yards and go all the way out to 200. I got some different props here that I'll be shooting on, just like I would in a normal match. I'll be timing myself as far as starting a stage and stopping a stage, and seeing how I do, and trying to better myself as far as being able to get targets in the scope faster, being able to engage the targets faster, and be able to move into the next position faster. That's obviously what all this is about, is repetitive and getting faster at something that you do. If you go out there blind, it's like I tell everybody, like, you know, they think that they're a really good shot at bench rest, you know, that they can shoot positional, and you know, I can shoot bench rest really good, but you know, if you practice bench rest and then you try and shoot off positions, you know, it can catch you off guard, because there's a little bit different, in technique, the way you got to shoot, the kind of gun you got to shoot. But you know, it's all in practice and doing exactly how you plan on shooting. So if I'm going to shoot bench rest, I'm going to practice bench rest. If I'm going to shoot PRS or NRL, then I'm going to try and practice as often as I can PRS or bench rest, or I'm sorry, PRS or NRL style. You know, and I may zero bench rest. You know, that way, zero off the bench. I know my zero is perfectly good, and now I can switch over to PRS or NRL style shooting, and I can really start honing some different skills. But anyways, let's get that stuff switched over. I'll get some props up, and I'll be back in a minute. We got the Apex Rival on this. We also have the trigger cam ready to go, so we can get some recording done. Got my Ace Venturi bottle and the SaberTac bottle backpack, which I really like on this thing. as well. Comes in real handy when you're going from stage to stage or pretty much walking around about anywhere. But I also got the send it level, and if you're not familiar with a send it level, they're kind of expensive. Most people usually just toss a level on their scope tube or whatever, but the good thing about this is it allows you to change your sensitivity. It allows you to re-level it. You know, like if you like to shoot your gun a little bit canted, you can also adjust it. If you put your scope on wrong, it's a little tilted, you can calibrate this to match it, so you can keep it level. But as you can see here, we got the sensitivity on 4. As you can see, we need to tilt a little bit more, and now we're dead level. So we know when we shoot down range that this gun is going to shoot the exact same. We're going to have this thing shooting the exact same way every time. The other thing you run into when you don't have your gun exactly level, like you're not going to see it at 50 yards. You might see a little bit at 80, but if you start really stretching back, you're going to really watch that bullet wanting to do some crazy stuff. You're going to get some really crappy groupings if you don't have a leveling system on your gun and you're not good at holding your gun in the exact same spot every time. If you're shooting off a bench and you have a little monopod and you have a bipod on the front, then you're probably going to be able to hold the gun, you know, pretty much in the same place as every time. But if this gun tilts a little bit one way or the other, a degree here, a degree there will make a big difference as you really start getting out. Anyways, we got this thing set up at 150 bar, run about 950 on these El Toros 40s, and let me show you what the thing does when I drop this gun. Actually, let me go ahead and stop that for a second. I'm going to tell you. The other thing I like to do, you see people with dope cards, you see them with all kinds of stuff to hold their dope, and something simple that I do, just a piece of duct tape or a piece of masking tape, piece of painter's tape, whatever you got. It's simple, cheap. You can take it, you can grab a roll from the house, toss in your bag, and you're good to go. You don't have to spend no fancy equipment on it. When you're done, you throw it in the trash. You don't have to worry about, you know, cleaning off your dope cards, you know, or remember where you put them. But now we're past that. We got a weighted gun, and you can see when we set this thing down, it ain't moving. So it takes, you know, like I said, like a weighted gun for this type of shooting, it takes a lot of errors out. Like I know when I get up on this gun and I bed it in there, I can sit there on this target all day long. I don't have to worry about the gun moving out. Clearly this isn't optimal if you're walking around the woods hunting. Like you ain't gonna want a gun like this. Extremely heavy, very awkward, and it's gonna beat the crap out of you. But there's also a completely different rifle setup that you want to use. Same with bench rest. Again, this weight system is not ideal for everything, so you really need to figure out what you're wanting to do with the gun. Is it going to be your only gun, or are you going to want to bounce it back and forth from hunting to shooting? You know, whatever you plan on doing with the gun, you really need to figure out exactly everything you want to do with it before you dial in and completely lock the gun up on something that's going to make it trickier to shoot in a different scenario or a different application. But anyways, we'll get off of that and we will get this thing recording, and we're going to go ahead and change some positions here. So we'll start out, we'll go ahead and hit, we've got 5 different targets spread out around this pond at 100 yards, and we're going to go ahead and bounce 5 different stages. We'll try and run it in 2 minutes, and then we'll switch over to the ladder or the stock tank there. And we'll just kind of have a little fun here tonight, today, and we'll get some recording done. Hopefully have a little fun, hopefully make some impacts, and maybe you guys will pick up on something that will help you out in the future. But let's go ahead and get it started. Fire this thing in. Trigger cam recording. As you can see, when I start this stage, the way I like to shoot these type of stages is, you might not be able to see it in the camera, but I like to get back and I spread my legs out this way, you know, as far as I can, and that gets me in a stable position. I can put all my weight right on the gun and you know, be able to fully load it on this barricade stop. I can push right up against this, hold that gun still, and I can use my other hand up here if I want, you know, to hold this thing, you know, help hold it down or help stabilize it. And this gun don't move. But let's get this thing rolling. We'll see what happens. A little bit of a crosswind. We'll have to hold a little bit to the left, but should be good. And time starts now. Seven. Here. Again. We're going to bounce down to 1.3. 80 yarder here. Crack that. Knock back up 1.8. You're dead. Ow. This again. Get your stance. Get comfortable. Pop it. Pop it. That's it. You see, the stance you put yourself in makes a huge difference. When you can preload your rifle, when you have the right amount of weight, to your liking, of course, it can make a big difference in holding the gun still and really help you be able to get, you know, engage your targets properly and the best of your ability. So let's go ahead and stop that one. We'll go ahead and put together another scenario. Today we're shooting the 40 grain Altoros. Nasty little things. They got a really high BC of 0.21. They are all CNC turn or lathe turn, and they are pristine little babies. And they come in an awesome little package. The drop test rated, so you can take this thing as long as you have your rubber band around it, or it's still in its vacuum package, and toss it off a cliff, pick them up, and you ain't got to worry about them being jacked up. And you throw them in your bag, you ain't got to worry about, you know, your bipod, your tripod, anything in your bag jacking with this package, because you can squeeze the crap out of it and you ain't gonna hurt them. The reason I'm shooting these is because I'm going a distance here pretty soon, and I really don't want to jack with the heavy winds, the wind deflection from my other slugs that I usually use, and that's where these things really pick up. I got about a 50% less wind deflection shooting these compared to my other ones. And as you get out to distance, you ain't gonna see a big noticeable difference in these until you start stretching out. You're gonna lose a little elevation because you got to slow these things down. You don't want to shoot them fast because they will shoot like birdshot, and that's guaranteed. I'm shooting these probably right around 950 if I remember right, and I can shoot really good groups. I know some people had to slow their guns down to, you know, 900s, you know, 920s. I can shoot really good with these on the tuning I'm on at about 950, and like I said, you do lose a little elevation, but it's not as much as you think. And when you're shooting this kind of stuff, and if you have a good rangefinder and you have a Kestrel or a Street Locker or something good, and you actually know your data, your elevation is not your problem. So the elevation that you're going to lose by shooting these compared to your faster projectiles, you're not going to see. That's not going to be your problem. Windage is going to be your nightmare. you know, you get them switchy winds that are, you know, going left or right or shutting off, you know, while you're shooting a stage. You shoot a stage, you got a 5-mile-an-hour crosswind, then all of a sudden, you know, you change 2 positions and it completely shuts off, and now that adjustment is, you know, now you got to move all the way back over, but, you know, you may not even noticed it, did it shut off, because it may not have got you yet, unless you're really uncomfortable. But, you know, as you start stretching out the distance, and let's say you have a 2-mil hole to 300 yards with, you know, your slug that's got a BC of, you know, 0.1 or 0.11, you know, now you're down to a point or a 1-mil hold, which is exceptionally smaller hold, and that's going to make a big difference as you stretch out there. And then the other thing is as you're going out there, let me grab this and try to make it a little easier. You have your lighter slug just dropping off. You know, your higher BC slug is going to start catching up. You know, and then so the other thing you gain as you get out the distance is you start, you know, gaining elevation back from that, you know, from that less wind deflection that you're dealing with. That higher BC, it really starts to pick up for the extreme long range stuff, not only on windage but on elevation as well. So you got to keep that in mind. These slugs ain't for everybody. They're kind of expensive to shoot. They're far more expensive than regular target ammo or you know, ammo that you usually find here in the States, because they are very consistent, they're very well made, and what they're marketed for as well. So just keep that in mind. I do like to shoot them because of the consistency and the reliability of them. But the other thing is you know, the tune I'm on, I can switch right over to my H&M 34s, and now I'm pushing, you know, probably about 980, and my point impact goes from here to just a little bit up and to the left, so I can adjust for that really easy on the fly. I don't have to retune the gun to switch back over to something else. All I gotta do is just, you know, adjust my zero just a smidge. So anyways, let's get off of that. Let's go ahead and shoot a little bit. I just wanted to tell you what I just wanted to go over what we're shooting, type of ammo, and you know, little differences of it. Again, I'm not no professional, but I shoot quite a bit and start to see a little bit, start remembering from all the data you collect, and that's really all we practice for is the data and getting ourselves acclimated to the way we have to shoot, and the style of shooting that we do. So anyways, we're going to shoot these 3 big, small, move, small to big, and then we're just going to repeat that sequence. And I'm not going to get up and drop back down in position. I'm just going to shoot it how I'm at now. Anyways, let's do, time starts now. We'll drop down. We'll get in it. Booger got me again. I nicked it on that one. Okay, we'll take it. Get me a smidge. That's all right.